like where I've been going is that within pain, within suffering, within any heavy emotion or feeling, there is presence. There is a present being which is already awake, and it's realizing that within that space, rather than trying to push the heavy emotion away and trying to find a better feeling tone.
Pushing the heavy emotion away.
Or no, trying to find a better thought, trying to direct
thought. But those are two distinctly different things. Pushing the negative emotion away only practices the vibration of it longer.
Sure.
Reaching for a better feeling thought is necessary because the problem...
But that's so subtle. Reaching for a better thought is your feeling...
Well, that's why we're talking about getting general with it. In other words, you're right. When you're focused upon something unwanted and someone says, well, you create your own reality. You need to cheer up and find a better feeling thought. The reason that is so abhorrent to you is because it is impossible to move from that specific unwanted thought to a specific wanted thought. You can't set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7 FM. The frequencies don't match up. You've got to be in the vicinity.
Yeah.
You've got to be in the vicinity. But it also isn't a good idea to relax into the unwanted and allow the unwanted... Fortunately, you could not permanently relax into unwanted because there is enough in life that will distract you. And sooner or later, you have to sleep. And
But it's finding I guess where I've been going is finding the wanted within the unwanted. Immediately seeing what's already here, which is wanted.
Which is what
living out of being, living out of the space of being, which doesn't reject the unwanted. It accepts the unwanted. And
accepts the unwanted as a valuable part of the creation of the wanted.
Yes.
And helps you to be able to focus, because without the absence of light, the presence of light would give you nothing to see. In other words, without the unwanted, the wanted could not exist. Your ability to focus anything into being could not be if there was not the opposite with which to cause it to come into being. But the reason, we're talking about the same thing. The reason that we have so much fun mocking our own affirmation cards is because we're speaking exactly the same thing that you're speaking. To stand in defiance of unwanted by affirming that is otherwise only makes it worse. That's what you're saying to us. It only makes it worse. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you've developed patterns of thought that aren't serving you? What are you going to do? Well, you've got to develop some patterns of thought that are serving you. And how do you know if you're moving in the direction of a pattern of thought that is serving you? You tell by the way you feel. And why do the emotions exist within you? Because there is a point of view that is calling you home. And when you're going in the direction of who you've become, you always feel good. And when you're pulling in opposition of who you've become, you feel bad. And it does not need to be more complex than that.
Yeah, no, what I like about what you say is that letting go of resistance brings you to a space where you basically don't... there's less concentration of thought. There's more a sense of being and more a sense
That's
of
why meditation
knowing,
is such a good tool, because when you meditate, you quiet your mind. When you quiet your mind, you stop thought. When you stop thought, you stop negative thought. When you stop negative thought, your vibration raises. But training your vibration bit by bit, in other words, the newest way that we've come to explain this to you is that if you find yourself feeling good about something in some freaky, flukish moment, in other words, maybe you just got bored and stopped thinking, or maybe you watched a mindless sporting event in which you didn't have anything invested, or you didn't care, or maybe you had a massage, or you were swimming or running, or something that was distracting you from a vibration. And so in the process of that, your vibration lifts, the cork just lifts. It just does, which is what we call going into the vortex. And then in acknowledging that you are there, just then focusing in an effort, not the right word, but in a decision to maintain the vibration, the higher vibration, for the simple reason that it feels better. And what we want you to realize is that the vortex, or that higher vibration, will train you into a frequency if you allow it to exist for a little while. In other words, a lot of people, when they first hear us, their comment is, Abraham, is it normal for all hell to break loose in my life when I begin doing this work? And we say, yeah. Because when we are able to get you to listen to us for a while, and therefore allow your vibration to raise, the more you do that, the less tolerant you are of the vibrational patterns that you have established for quite a long time. So gradually the thoughts start shifting. If you've been listening to us for a while, and you haven't, but if you go back and read some of what we've accomplished through these magnificent co-creative environments, you'll discover that we are eternal spewers of processes. But every process that we offer is toward the same result. Every process is about helping you to find a way of releasing the resistance that is unnatural but feels natural that you've picked up along your physical trail. Because we know as you peel the layers of this onion and you leave resistance behind and resistance behind and resistance behind, you're going to allow more of the rendezvous, not just with your lovers that you've been putting into your escrow, but with your ideas, with who you really are, with your worthiness, with your stability, with your confidence, with your understanding of who you are, you see. It's all working very well for you. And this has been a very interesting and productive conversation. And nearly everyone who has been listening to it has benefited by the evolution of it. Because as they hear you arguing for the limitations that are natural, many of them are happy that, because they were all where you are to some degree. And feeling the satisfaction of having left some of those things that you're still thinking that they once thought behind. However, and we're asking you this, have you ever heard more leading edge things coming from a person than what you heard here today? So you don't feel behind, you feel right out there, which means you've got desire and understanding that you're sometimes getting and sometimes not. And that's why the tension feels strong within you. That's why you want to give up. You want to surrender. You want to let go. You want to stop fighting it. You've done enough study to know that there's something in that for you. And we think together we have re-identified that here in this body of work as well. Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Find the next piece of this.